Hi, this is Cousin Russ. Continuing my series on the workspaces for Family Tree Maker 2017. What I'm going to do this time is give a high-level view of each of the workspaces. I won't spend any time on the workspaces, just a high-level overview of what they are. So we're going to get started, and you may remember that this is where we started the last time, except there was no options available to us. That's because I did not have a file open. So I'm going to go to the top, select tree, and I'm going to select this one, and I just clicked on open. So I am now opening this file. This is a working file that I am working on while it loads, and it opens up into uh, the people workspace. But I'm going to start back at the plan workspace. Um, this is where we saw before, but what I want to show you is that there are two tabs here now. In the last video, there was only this one, which is a no tree available, not open. You can start one. But then now there's a second tab here that says current trees. So that means I have a file open. And if I go to the various works menu items, you'll see that there are now some that are available to me. They were not in the first one. I'm going to click on current tree, and this is the plan workspace. Now, this is my to-do list. I will spend a lot of time when I talk about the plan workspace specifically, but this is my plan workspace and it's my to-do list. And this file is in fact linked with Ancestry Member Tree. And again, I will go into detail on that. But not my purpose this time, except to show you that there's a great tool here to get some statistics. If I click on, there's already some information in the left-hand panel, but if you click more, there's more information about this file. It tells me how many people, how many marriages, how many generations, and other information about this file. Pretty cool. I'm going to close it because we'll spend more time on that when we actually go through it. Now, the workspaces. The plan workspace for me is what am I going to do? What do I need to do? I may have another task in hand, like I want to enter some data that I already have. But this is my to-do list, stuff that I need to follow up on. The way I have organized it, these are my file notes. Again, I'll spend more time on that. But this is for planning. What am I going to do? What I want to do, or I need to follow up on some stuff. That's where I get from the plan workspace. The next tab is the people workspace. This is about people. Like the plan workspace with a file open, there are two tabs. The tree view, and that's what this is a pedigree chart that I have color-coded, and I've blogged about how to use color-coded and all that. I will probably do some more. But this is the tree view. It's more about relationships. Like if I click on my grandfather, you'll see some information about him. And you notice that I just dragged this up because I know there's some children here. But this is all how you can control the real estate. And again, when I come back to the details on the people workspace, I'll spend more time here. But this is about people, give you the big picture of relationships. I don't spend a lot of time in that workspace because I spend my time on the person workspace. I'm dealing with a specific person. The facts, the stories, I want to deal with this specific person. as opposed to the family. So the people workspace, you have two choices, relationships and the person. And one of the reasons why I spend most of my time in the personal workspace, because I've actually got the pedigree in a mini nav bar at the top of the screen. So if I want to change people, I just click on his father and I get his information. Uh, and I will come back and spend more time in more detail on each of the workspaces because there's a lot of information on this screen. The next one has to do with places. For an example, earlier today I was cleaning up some of my locations and I wanted to make sure that they were correct. I've done a number of blog posts on how I handle place names, but these are all place names. And I see that I have an error message, which I will deal with later. But the Places workspace is where people lived. Now, I use this map feature all of the time, and I want to make sure it's correct. And I will deal with how I handle the Places workspace when I spend time on the Places workspace. But I deal with locations. For an example, what I worked on earlier today was made sure that historical place names were correct. And I'll spend some time talking about that. I've blogged about that as well. So that's the Places workspace. I want to deal with locations. The next is the media workspace. This is all the media files that are in this file. All these are media files. I have them categorized. And again, I will spend time on what that means and what's in all of this. And I will explain that to you when I spend time in the media workspace. Again, if I'm dealing with my media files, I'm going to come to the media workspace. It's all the files that are attached to this family file. The next one is the scary part, the sources workspace. This is where I work on citations. It's all the work that's done here. And I want to go back to the plan workspace because the key information here is that I have 53 sources, 53 source groups, and all 53 sources are using the template feature. That's so that the reference note is a reference note as close as we can get to the evidence explained reference note by Elizabeth Shown Mills. The feature is in Family TreeMaker to do that, and I will spend more time on how to do that when I talk about the sources workspace. I spend a lot of time here. I spend a lot of time cleaning up, making sure that it's correct. I want all of my sources into the template format so that the citations are evidence explained compatible. They're not exact, but they're as close as I can get to them with Family TreeMaker. So that's all input so far. What about some output? That's the Publish workspace. The Publish workspace has, let me back up to the media workspace because I pointed out before, but I didn't this time. The media workspace has two tabs, a collection or detail. Again, I'll spend more time on it, but the collection is all your media files, and this gets into the detail of the media file. Publish workspace, again, there's a collection, the types of reports that you want, reports or charts, and the details. for an example, I want to do a pedigree chart. So it's a chart. I select the chart that I want, and then I create it. And there's a lot of options once you get through that. There's a lot of reports. When I am working with my data, I am thinking about the output. If I change on how I do some data entry stuff, I'm going to see what it looks like on the output side. I'm constantly thinking, they're trying to plan ahead, and I will try and may make changes as I move forward because the output didn't show up the way I had expected to. I pointed out the mini nav bar at the top of the people workspace. The nav bar is here as well, so I can navigate if I'm not on the right person. If I want a pedigree chart or I want an individual report, I can move around if I don't have the right person select using the mini nav bar. The other workspace is the web search workspace. I will spend a lot of time in the web search workspace. I do a lot of blog posts on using the web merge feature, which is part of that. But this is where I do my searching. Well, maybe. In fact, what I do is from the people workspace, and this is where the pedigree view really works for me, is these shaky leaves that appear. If I hover over this one, I'll hover over this one, and it says I have 5 ancestry hints. I'm going to select that one. I want to do some research on this person, and there are the 5 possible hints for this person. Now, what's nice, and again, I'll spend more time, there's the record, but here's the data in my database in the lower left-hand corner. Lower right-hand corner is what the record that I have selected is going to present to me. There's a lot of other good information on here, but I wanted to point out these the hints, because I can search from this website, from this page, but I generally run by the hints, and the reason is the hint generator in the ancestry member tree that feeds the hints to Family Tree Maker, their search engine is far better than me. So I let the hints come to me, and my experience is a high probability of the records that are being hinted are correct. Now, one thing I do want to go back and point out is the menu items. I just went through the workspaces, but now we've got some active menu items depending on what workspace you're in, what will be active and what will not be active. I can change workspaces from this menu or use the shortcut keys. I just use the big buttons at the top. It makes it much easier. Attaching or adding, detaching, all of those features that have to do with people is in the person menu. Tools, there's other things you can do with tools which you couldn't before when I showed in the first video, but there's a bunch of tools and they change depending on what workspace you're in. The help menu is pretty constant because you can do a lot of things just from the help menu. There is an item here that now that I have a file open is that if there's a sync error, and I will spend time on the sync report, or on a sync feature, I can send a report to the development folks at familytreemaker.com. That's a high-level view of the workspaces, the plan workspace, planning on what you want to do, the people workspace, dealing with people and relationships, the places workspace. And this is why I love this program, in that if I want to clean up my places, I'm going to go to the places workspace. I want to deal with my images. I go to the media workspace. I want to spend my time cleaning up my citations. I go to the sources workspace. I want to do some output stuff. And there's a lot of features in here that I will cover later on. But that's the output and the searching. So that's a high-level view of the workspaces in Family Tree Maker 2017. I think they're pretty cool, and that's workspace concept. As I mentioned before, that workspace concept is what has me sticking by Family Tree Maker. Thank you. Have a great day.